What's up, guys? I'm Tim. This is New Craft Workshop, still kind of the coming together messy new craft workshop, but you guys ready to get back into these easy to build beginners style projects? Because I sure am, so let's go. All right, let's get this cool little lantern project started. So as always with our beginners friendly projects that we do here, I'm gonna pop up a cut list and I'm gonna pop up a tool list. And today we're gonna start with our tool list. So first thing you're gonna need is a saw. We're gonna need to get all of our material cut down to size. I'll be using my power miter saw. If you don't have a miter saw, you're gonna have to do this by hand unless you have a table saw. Either one will work because we're going to need to cut these 1x6s down. You're going to need your drill. You're going to need some sort of driver. I'm using my impact driver, but you can also just throw a screwdriver bit in your drill. You're going to need a framing square. You're going to need your tape measure. You are going to need a 3.5 inch hole saw. You're going to need some glue, and I think that's kind of it. Oh, and a pencil. Let's throw a pencil in there. You're gonna need a pencil because we got to mark this stuff. All right, and now let's get up to our cut list. Now we're making this out of a 1x6, and for those of you who do not know, a 1x6 is 3/4 thick, 5.5 inches wide. So we are going to need some pieces to make a box at the bottom, and then each layer that we're making. So we're gonna need a total of 9 pieces cut to 5.5 inches in length. And then we are going to need 2 pieces that we cut to 4 inches in length. Then we're going to take our dowel rods. We are using 3/4 inch dowel. And the reason that I bought those short little stubby ones at the beginning is because it was actually cheaper to buy 4 12-inch pieces than it was to buy an entire 4-foot piece at the big box store. And I'll be honest with you, the 4-foot pieces look like branches of trees. They were pretty janky and crooked and they were in bad shape. So these were nice and straight, and that's what we want. On that, you are going to need, let me count, 7, 6, 20. You're gonna need 24 pieces of that dowel rod, and we're gonna cut each one of those pieces to 3/4 of an inch long. That is gonna be our separation between each layer. So you've got your tool list, you've got your cut list. Let's get this thing going. All right, so the first thing we need to do is we need to get everything cut down to length. I'm gonna head over to the miter saw. I'm probably gonna just show you this process in fast forward while I am getting all of my material cut down to size. First thing we're gonna do is take our 1x6 and we're gonna square up one end, and then I'm gonna put a stop block here on this little jig that I had made for my miter saw. And if you're interested in that, by the way, you can check out that video on my shop projects playlist over on my channel. But we need to square up one end. I'm gonna put a stop block at 5.5, and then I'm gonna cut my 9 pieces at 5.5 inches in length. Once we're done with that, I'm gonna move my stop block over to 4 inches, and we're gonna cut 2 pieces at 4 inches in length. And then I'm going to adjust my stop block here, and I'm actually gonna clamp on an extra block because I wanna cut multiple of these dowels at one time. So I'm gonna set my stop block at 3/4 of an inch. And I made this jig to keep these small little pieces like this from falling down in the groove while we're cutting small pieces, because if you've ever done that, they'll fall down in that groove, they'll get caught by the blade, and then they'll fly all over your shop and hopefully they'll miss you. But we're gonna get these all cut down, and each and every time I cut this section off of here, this little 3/4 inch piece, I am gonna let my blade come to a complete stop before I raise it up. I just don't want these things shooting all over the place. So we're gonna get those 24 cut, and then we're gonna head back over to the workbench and we can get this thing assembled. All right, we are back from the saw, and we've got all of our material cut down to size. And the reason that we did these 2 4-inch pieces, I'm gonna set this up right here so you guys can see this. And we are going to do basically a box. And this box is going to be made out of butt joints. And yes, I know you can see the leg to my camera, but it is what it is. So butt joints, we're just gonna butt these up together, hence the name butt joint. glue and tack them in place. And these two 4-inch pieces right here, when you add the thickness of this board and the thickness of this board, this total length now becomes 5.5. So we've got our square base built, and sorry, I'm multitasking here.
This mind is capable of advanced multitasking.
Now when we take this piece and place it on top, this fits perfectly onto our base. Now we do have a bottom and we have a top. That means that all of these other pieces, there are 5 of them, these are the ones that are going to get the holes drilled in them. So if you're not familiar as a beginner with how to find the center of a square, we're going to take our square and we're going to place it, and we're going to draw a line from corner to corner. We're going to spin this and do the same from this corner to this corner. And what we wind up with is a mark in the center right here. This is where we're going to drill our hole. We are going to use this big, huge hole saw that I haven't even taken out of the wrapper yet because I couldn't find a 3.5 in my shop, so I had to go buy one. But we're going to take this big, huge hole saw and we're going to drill a hole in 5 of these blocks. Now, this is a big hole saw. If you're doing this by hand, 2 things. 1, go slow. It is going to take some time to get this big, huge hole saw through your material if you're doing this by hand. Number 2, clamp your material down. Make sure this is clamped to your workbench so that it does not move. If you don't want to drill into your workbench, put yourself a sacrificial board underneath there, some scrap I'm sure you got laying around. Otherwise, your pilot bit is going to go through into your workbench. I recommend going halfway through. Once your pilot bit pokes out the other side, flip your material over, start your hole from the other side. That is the easiest way I have found drilling holes with a hole saw by hand. I'm going to cheat.
It could be a phony, a big fat phony.
Like I always do, and I'm going to use my drill press. So 5 holes in these 5 boards, 3.5 diameter. Let's go. All right, we are back from the drill press and it is time to get things assembled. And we are going to start with our base, which is going to be, once again, our 2 4-inch pieces butted up against our 2 5.5-inch pieces. This is going to make our box. Once our box is built, then we can get on to getting this next layer. So we're gonna glue. This is going to go outside, so I am going to be using Titebond 3. If you've joined me before, you know the differences between the Titebond glues, but if you haven't, then I'm going to pop this little thing up right here on the screen and show you guys. But basically, dry time and moisture resistance, that's your difference between the red, the blue, and the green label Titebond. So, if I can get this apart.
Actually, he's struggling.
We're going to glue this up. And I am tacking this in place with my brad nailer. If you do not have a brad nailer, just like everything else we do here on this beginner's channel, just use a hammer and nails. It is not as quick, but it gets the job done. So let's get this tacked in place. And I'm just going to lay it flat on my workbench so that I know that the edges are nice and flat and flush with each other. And as always, I never turn my freaking brad nailer on in time. Never. So let's try this again. And because this is construction grade wood from the big box stores, I got a little bow in these 2 pieces. I am going to clamp this together. Since these are clamped in place, we can get our top put on next, which is going to go right here, nice and flush with our cutout. You know what? My other shirt has wood glue on it, but guess what? So does this one, because I can't find a rag. I never can. So we're just going to put a little bit of glue on this. Doesn't need a lot. And then we're going to tack this in place. This is our top. And then once this is in place, we can get our layers going, and then we're going to build those layers one at a time. So we can move that over to the side. That's our base. We're going to allow that to dry. Okay, so our clamps are off. Our box is done, and The joy of buying lumber at the big box store is it's not square, it's not perfect, it's gonna have bows and warps and stuff in it. It is what it is. We're going to sand this and sand it some more until it's nice and smooth. I'm not gonna do that on camera because it's extremely boring. I'm also going to sand all of these pieces. I wanna get all of this as flush, as clean as I can. And then I wanna get my pencil marks off, of course, and all of that stuff before we do our glue up. So I'm gonna get this stuff sanded, and with the magic of editing, I should be back in like, I don't know, 2 seconds. See you in a second.
That was fast.
All right, so we are back from sanding. I know that was super quick, but the next step, all we need to do is layer this thing with 4 of our dowels, just like this. And then on top of that, 1 of our pieces that has a hole in it. Now, just so you know, I am literally just gonna kind of eyeball this. I want it about 1/4 of an inch in from either edge. No need to make this extremely precise. The smallest amount of glue on the bottom is going to be more than sufficient. We don't want this squeezing out because then it becomes a pain in the rear end to clean up as we go up this thing. And yeah, I don't have a rag today. And I am going to drive a brad through this. It is a 1 inch long brad. I am using that for nothing more than to hold this in place until the glue dries. Let's get this done. I'm gonna go all the way to the top, and then when we get to the top, we're gonna finish this thing off. And notice, just for you who think that sometimes I'm not super safe in my shop, which honestly I am, always move your finger away as you squeeze the trigger on your brad nailer. Most of the time, you're not gonna get any blowout, but God, it hurts when you do. And yes, I speak from experience. So 1 more here, and I'll show you what we're gonna do. And then we're just going to take this, set this on top. I'm going to make sure that I am square and lined up. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna turn it this way because you wanna make sure your grain is running the same direction, because that's going to tell us that that is from the same position of the board. In other words, if we take this and we turn our grain sideways and we didn't cut exactly the same width as this, we're going to be off. So just make sure your grain runs in the same direction. Same thing, I'm going to pop some glue on the top of this, work my way up. I'll catch you in a second when I've got all these done. All right, super quick and simple. I am done. This is our top. We are using these little touch lights. I was gonna say, did I put batteries in it? This is going to go in the inside, light up our lantern. If you don't wanna do this, you can drop a LED candle down in the center of this. And as far as getting our top onto this without it flopping around, there's 2 ways we can do that. One is going to be magnets. I am going to do something extremely beginner friendly, and I'm just gonna put a couple pieces of double-sided tape on here, just the smallest piece on opposing corners. That's gonna hold this thing in place. Now, if you are gonna have this exposed to the elements, if you're going to put a finish on this and put it outside where it's going to get directly rained on, you need to probably do some sort of magnetic catch here and here, recess you a magnet in the top of each corner. Totally could do that if you wanted to, because as we say always on this channel, make it your own. Me, I'm gonna go the lazy way out, put some double-sided tape on here, but the first thing I need to do is drop my little lamp here. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna take this little piece off right here because it's not gonna do me a dang bit of good. Peel this off, and we're just going to put this right in the center, push it down, drop this on top, and I'm actually gonna go turn off the lights here so we can see how this thing looks in the dark. Hang on just a second. I mean, seriously, is that not like a really cool lantern? I'm gonna make a set of these, pop them out on the porch, and this is gonna be winter chicken dinner right here. So let me turn the lights back on. Hang on just 2 seconds. And I hope you enjoyed the very first beginner's build video in our new place. And the shop is coming along. Ignore all of this because it really is coming along. I've got most of my stuff set up except for what's behind me, and that's coming soon. French cleat wall, cabinets, shelf for the miter saw, etc. That's all going to be back here, similar to what we had at our old location. So please like this video. It's this one. It's not this one. It's this one. Click it. It takes 2 seconds. Most importantly, leave us a comment. That helps get our video out to more and more people. And if you haven't already, take 2 seconds to subscribe to our channel. I'm going to try to do 6 to 8 of these beginners videos every single month. And as we get closer to Christmas, we know what that means. There's going to be some fall builds, some Thanksgiving builds, and a ton of Christmas stuff coming your way. So that's all I got for you. Everything down in the description, as always, links to the products we use, links to our Facebook group, links to our Amazon storefront. It's all down there. Click it, support our channel. We appreciate it greatly. As always, thanks for spending a few minutes of your day with me here at New Craft Workshop. And until next time, I will catch you guys on YouTube.